Classic Country kicks 101.5. Hi, you, it's Todd. And it is 7 o'clock straight up. It is time for something new we're trying here at Classic Country at Scott Communications. And we call it, Cindy, you want to tell them what we call it?
The Selma Rise and Shine Show.
Hey, there's Cindy. Joining me is Cindy Fisher, the owner and publisher of the Selma Sun. How are you doing this morning?
I'm doing great.
Fantastic. Well, something new, something fun, something interesting. You want to tell us what we're doing?
So, the Selma Sun has partnered with Scott Communication because we want to provide entertainment and information for here in Selma and Dallas County during this kind of crazy quarantine time. We find that there's some ideas that we can share to be a stronger community during this time when we can't go anywhere. So what better way to bring everybody together than the radio? This is sort of our fun way of kind of going old fashioned and old school and saying, let's go to the radio and share our voices and our stories. And we're going to talk to folks that are here in Selma, Dallas County. We're going to have interviews with some of our leaders, including today, we're going to have the superintendent Avis Williams with Selma City Schools. And then we're also going to have a singer songwriter, Paul Garner, who we're really excited to have with his guitar and a cup of coffee, as he says online on Facebook. So we are really excited about starting the show and being able to share with you guys all the things that we know are going on so we can inform you and also entertain during this quarantine.
And of course, doing it like this to kind of, as she said, give you information about what's going on here locally in Dallas County. And I think that's going to be a lot of fun. And now, and keep in mind, this is live radio. So,
It
and the
is.
first
But
one,
we
bear
are
with us.
not in the studio together.
We are not. We are
Right. We are
practicing. Go ahead.
in separate areas so that we are not even having to social distance, but yet we were here for you to entertain, hopefully give you some great information. You can communicate with us online at our pages. Kicks 101.5 has their Facebook page. Selma Sun newspaper has our Facebook page. We want you guys to communicate with us, tell us what you like and what you don't, but no, we are not in the studio together. We hope to someday have us a in studio experience so that we can have our singers and songwriters in the studio for great quality in our future shows. But it's Wednesday, 7 a.m. to 8 a.m. and hoping to make this a regular thing.
I think it'll be a lot of fun to do this as a regular thing. We'll give it a shot and see how it works. I do want to, of course, most everyone listening knows who I am. You've been hearing me for 6 years, so I'm Todd. Hey, hi, you. So I would like for Cindy to tell us a little bit about herself. Where are you from, Cindy, and what brought you here to the fair city of Selma in Dallas County?
I am originally from Tuscaloosa, but I've been in Birmingham off and on for 20 years, and I got tired of the traffic and the busyness and the public school systems. And I bought the Selma Sun, and I'm a lifelong journalist. I bought the Selma Sun in September 2018 and have been turning it around into the news and feature product that you guys see today that is shining the light on Selma and Dallas County. And I figured out that I just love Selma so much that I want to live here. So about 3 weeks ago, I moved to Selma, and so here I am in the Queen City and putting all of my efforts into making the Selma Sun a success and a big important communication link for Selma and Dallas County. There's so much here to talk about, and that I think that I can provide. through some great coverage and community coverage in our weekly newspaper that comes out on Thursdays. We do have news racks around town, so you don't have to actually interact with people to grab a copy at 7 different locations. If you want to look at selmasun.com has a list of where those are. And we'll be making the e-editions free for starting this week so that you can read us at any time and stay informed during this quarantine.
And I like to add that I have the honor and privilege of being a contributor, being a staff member, and writing for the Selma Sun. I really enjoy doing that along with my radio work. And a lot of it is some interesting overlap, but I really enjoy it, and I'm so glad that you're here in town, Cindy. I think that you have a lot to offer, and it's going to be a fun, wonderful ride, and I hope it's a long one too.
Oh yeah, we and I brought my two children that are 13 and 10 with me. And so this was a family move. And I'm a single mom. So I run this paper by myself, sort of, pretty much. And so it's one of those things where I believe and I'm investing in Selma. And so far, I think Selma's is saving me more than I'm saving them.
Well, that's good. That's a good thing. Speaking of children, um, let's talk about the kids right now. That's one of the main things during this quarantine while the schools are out. Well, what are your kids doing right now? What are they? Your children are going to Morgan. What are they doing during
They
this?
are. So technically it is spring break this week.
Ah,
And so they like to think that means that they don't have to do the homeschooling.
uh
Right. So,
huh.
but, but before spring break, we definitely got started on what it is that's expected. Morgan Academy is learning how to do the online. We came from the Hoover school districts, which already had Google Classroom, and they each had their own Chromebooks, which is a laptop.
Right.
So it's a wealthy district. We were used to doing online work,
Yeah.
and it was spelled out pretty well. So I do think that's a challenge for Dallas County. That's relied so much, and it's been just so normal to be in school regularly and to have homework that's in a workbook and or textbooks. My kids did not have textbooks in Hoover, so this has been a little bit of an adjustment, but
Right.
they're cool with it.
Mine are homeschooled
They
anyway.
especially like that there's no Common Core.
Yeah. Oh, thank you, Lord. Thank you, Lord. Mine are homeschooled anyway, but when they heard that schools were going to be out, it's like, oh, cool. We don't have to do. I said, no, 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 no. Did you not read the email from your teachers? Because they still have teachers and principals. And I said, they specifically said, although the physical schools are not going into school, we're already set up for homeschool because that's what we do. So cooking along just as
And
normal.
I think you're at an advantage having already set a structure for the homeschooling for your kids because it's a daily thing. So I'm looking forward to talking to Avis Williams. She is the superintendent of Selma City Schools, who will be with us later in the hour and talk about homeschooling successes and best ways to do it. I'm looking forward to talking to her.
Yeah, we'll get her
I
on the
think a
phone in a
lot
little
of us
while.
parents purposely don't homeschool because we don't know if we uh, trust ourselves to make sure our kids know everything they need to know because
That's
the
true.
teachers are the experts and the pros. So looking forward to talking to her later in the hour.
Well, now, what are some of the coronavirus efforts that are going on? What are some of the things that are happening here in our area that are coronavirus related that you know about so far?
Yeah, so Dallas County has no cases yet, and I think
No.
the bonus for us is that there are fewer people here.
Right.
We know the city of Birmingham did a shelter in place yesterday,
They did.
and that actually rang through the nation. Um, News agencies reporting that because I think they thought that was a very proactive move.
Yeah.
And I think it makes it harder for folks here in Selma and Dallas County to take this seriously because we haven't had any cases. we have fewer people coming back to Selma from, out of country or even
Sure.
Birmingham in a way. So the lack of transients
Hmm.
and I think we're going to see it a little slower than everyone else.
Well,
But it seems like, and I've talked to Vaughn Regional Medical Center. They are doing a no visitor policy. They check you when you come to the door for your temperature and such when there was open for visitors. So everybody seems to be in place and ready for when we may have to do something like what Birmingham is doing.
yeah, and hopefully it won't get to that point here in Selma and Dallas County, although it could. So being prepared for that is obviously the right way to go. Right now in Alabama, there are 242 cases as of this morning. Thank you, Lord, no deaths as a result of coronavirus. A quick breakdown of some of the counties that surround us that would most likely affect us here in Dallas County. As you said, Cindy, the shelter in place in Birmingham, Jefferson County has 91 cases right now. In Tuscaloosa County, 10 cases. Shelby County has 27. Montgomery County has 9. Elmore, 8. Here's the scary part. Autauga County, which is one county over, they abut our county, has 1 case of coronavirus right now. So it is moving this way unless something happens soon and quick. It's coming to us.
Well, we
Uh,
did hear, yeah, and being tested is the biggest challenge. There are some that could have it, but not have been tested. So we did hear this week that Main Street Urgent Care that's on Highland Avenue
right.
is going to be offering the test, and I'm sure they can also do it at Vaughn. I know they've done several tests at the Vaughn, but there have not been any positive cases yet.
The Vaughn actually has the test now because earlier they had the ability to take samples, but not the test itself. And Main Street has the test. I'm gonna double check on that because that would be really good. The other thing we need to think about too, though, is traveling. If you're traveling out of county, um, being careful where you go because that's how this spreads. Is you're going and you go out in public somewhere where they have it and you bring it back. It's like any other infectious disease. It's not too different from the flu and the way the flu would spread. It's a little more infectious, but it's one of those things where the shelter in place in Jefferson County, the fact that they're saying don't gather in groups of more than, well, I've heard 10 and I've heard 6. Yeah, but
Yeah,
the same difference as far as
and I think
I was going to say the distance
it's made it
between
very
people.
challenging to make decisions about whether you should go here or there for
Yeah.
for for your needs. Is a takeout? Because we I feel bad for the retailers here in Selma, Dallas County, but they have really stepped up with some great ideas. Actually, I've actually used the pharmacies that along Broad, for
Uh
instance,
huh.
that have curbside. So you can go to the window, tell them what you want, they'll go get it and bring it to you. You can also call ahead and they will prepare your order and bring it to your car. And then the restaurants, they all need to stay in business in order to keep their employees. I know, I went into Hancock Barbecue yesterday and they've got their longtime employees still there working, but they did have to let go the part timers because they don't need waiters and waitresses in and servers in
Right.
the area because they can't do that. So this does have a trickle effect. But I've been really impressed with the curbside. And there's a story in this week's Selma Sun that comes out tomorrow about some of the curbside efforts. Mark Smart is one of them that has come up with some, pretty easy to come up with, but ways that they can stay in business and bring things to you and not have a lot of contact.
Yeah, and Dave's Market has online shopping now, shopdaves.com, and you can Go online, order what you need. If there is, for some reason, something that is out of stock, it will say it on the website so that you don't order something and it not be there. They're handling that, and then you pay for it online. You order it, pay for it, and all you got to do is drive up, and they'll bring it out to your car. You don't even have to get out of the car. So, if you are uneasy about going into the grocery store, there's an option. One sad bit of news, though, is the Tally Ho has shut down both the restaurant and the street kitchen because of the coronavirus situation. I spoke with Paul Wilkerson
Yeah.
yesterday. I hated to hear that. God bless him. I love that man. He's a great person. He does an excellent job. It's a fantastic restaurant, and we don't want to see that happen in Selma. Too much of it is already starting, so we need to support our local businesses. We need to take advantage of these curbside offers and keep things up and alive and well as possible. It's only temporary. This whole thing is. So we don't want any permanent scars from this. So keeping our businesses going will help in the long run when all this is over. It'll help getting things more back to normal more quickly.
Yeah, because we're actually seeing a couple of cases of restaurants in Birmingham that have been on the fringe of survival just go ahead and throw in the towel. uh, because this is just the last straw of what they can
Wow.
handle.
Yeah.
We
Mm.
like you said, we don't want to see that happen. And luckily, like Hancock Barbecue came up with some family meal plans that they could drive by and pick up, order by phone that got them through the weekend. The owner's talking about all she wants is just to be able to pay for the long timers, just cover costs. Um, at least be able to break even so that they can stay open.
Right. Exactly. And that's the key. At least break even so they can and pay the employees and pay the bills. And then once all this is over with, we'll
Right.
go back to normal. So that's a couple of things that are going on right now. And luckily, we don't have any quarantine yet here in Dallas County. We don't have any shelter in place.
Like
Life
forced
is,
quarantine. Yeah.
yeah, it's not forced. It's recommended. They say don't get into large crowds of more than 10 people. There's a lot of
We
different.
do have some industries that are challenged by this because, they're now coming up with the essential employees
Oh
and
yeah, yeah,
essential industries, and International Paper is one of those. It's actually, they make paper products that are used with, a lot of the face masks and such. So they've been determined as an essential um, manufacturer, and they're staying open. And I'm sure it's challenging for them to keep their employees 6 feet away. And it's sort of like the healthcare industry. We have a lot of folks that we don't realize are kind of sacrificing to make sure that the necessities are being done. You've got truck drivers that need to be
right.
working to get things from place to place so that we can stay the country we're used to being.
Yeah, exactly. And people like that are the real heroes of this whole situation. We always talk about our first responders and our law enforcement, but right now we can add to it the truck drivers and definitely the folks in the healthcare industry because they're putting themselves on the front line, literally.
Right. And we've seen pictures of other countries with their nurses and doctors in full pandemic outfits. We don't have that kind of supply here,
Yeah.
and it's such scattered help throughout each county. So I've I wonder how protected they are. So definitely praying for those in the line in the line of duty,
Well, a
so
lot
to
of
speak.
officials are saying don't buy the masks because they don't really help that much to begin with, and healthcare workers absolutely need them. So don't buy the
Right.
mask. But you know what I saw on? I think it was on. I don't remember. It was something online. Um, there was. It started out with a purple bra, and I'm thinking, wait a minute, why am I watching a purple bra? The person and I don't remember if it was a male or female because I was so amazed by what they did. Cut one of the cups, took one of the straps. They cut everything off but one strap, wrapped the strap around the other side, fastened it to the other side, and put it on. It made a perfect face mask. I mean, it looked and worked just like the paper masks, but it was a bra. I thought, well, now that's a good
I've
idea.
seen that. I've seen diapers used as well.
Clean ones, I hope. Clean ones, please.
So there's some creativity there, especially if you are more particularly at risk.
Yeah,
If
yeah,
you have
exactly.
an autoimmune issue or if you're over 65.
Yeah, exactly. And that's one of the things that I thought if you get a little bit creative. Matter of fact, if you get creative, there's a lot of things you can do when you can't get into large groups or you can't get a quick for instance. This weekend there was a bass fishing tournament down at Roland Cooper State Park. And the way they designed or redesigned the tournament in the pavilion at Roland Cooper, there were no more than 8 or 10 people at any one time. And most of them were staying well apart from each other. And it was here's another thing: it was family members who were running the tournament. So it was designed so that when the anglers came in, they registered via automobile. They were stayed in their trucks. They registered in their trucks. They left, went and did their thing, came back that afternoon, and weighed in their trucks. It was all drive through. Nobody had to get in and out. Nobody had to make any contact. These type creative things are what it's going to take to keep things going, keep the fun things going, keep anything going, because right now we don't need to make a lot of contact. But if you don't want to be totally bored, there's going to have to be adjustments in some of the fun things we do. And I thought that was an ingenious way to do it. There's another tournament coming up next weekend that's doing the same kind of thing. And we're going to run that story this week in the Sun. Cindy?
Yes,
We are going to run that story.
outdoor. Which one?
The one about the bass tournament?
I lost you for a second.
Oh,
Yes, it's
okay,
running
good.
this week in the Selma Sun edition that's coming out tomorrow.
Good. So there'll be all the
And I think
details.
that's a great reminder of outdoor activities
Oh, see,
that
that's,
we can do. Fishing is one that you can do with only two people, three people.
yeah. This is a great time. Somebody said once that just recently that sometimes God redirects our attention, and maybe this is a good opportunity to redirect our attention to family and our close friends and the people that mean the most. And this is a wonderful time to get with the family and do some of these outdoor activities. I spoke with Chuck Sykes and some of my friends over at the Department of Conservation and Wildlife Freshwater Fisheries just recently, and he said, well, it's pretty much business as usual for them. None of the wildlife management areas are closed down. None of Alabama state parks are completely closed. Some of the restaurants have made major adjustments, the parks that have restaurants, but most parks are still open, and all the forever wild tracts of land are open. That means here's the things you can do in these areas. Turkey hunting season came in Saturday. You can go turkey hunting. If you're not a turkey hunter, maybe this is a good time to learn. Maybe this is a good time to get that hunting license and get your kids and learn how to do it. Fishing.
Hey, wild turkey is delicious.
Oh, it is so. Amen to that. And so is fresh fish. Dallas County
And
Lake is
there's
open.
also hiking. And
Hiking.
and now that the weather is getting warm this week, and hopefully staying warm, I think camping would be a great thing for
Oh, yeah. And
families to do. We've talked about, you and I were talking earlier about how this really is a great time to bring the family together because you have no other choice but to hang out together. There's
yeah.
no dating or, the kids going on slumber parties or this is like major family time. We are
Yeah.
cooking together and eating dinner together now. This is kind of a unique opportunity for us as parents to get our kids back,
Yeah. Amen.
turn off all the devices and make a meal together, at least eat a meal together without
And that's the truth.
having to share watching different programs at the same time. I've seen people playing Monopoly right now. It's a great time. Putting puzzles together. This is a unique time to kind of go back in time and reconnect as a family.
Exactly. I mean, and you can go hunting, fishing. We already talked about that. Dallas County Lakes open. Hiking, bike riding, horseback riding, canoeing, kayaking, camping, as you mentioned. Um, most all the parks are open. Okahaba Archaeological Park is open, even though they're not doing any tours right now. They're self-guided tours, so you can go down there and hike and horseback ride. A couple of websites that you might check out: alaparks.com, alaparks.com, outdooralabama.com. That's another great one too, and alabamaforeverwild.com. That's one word, Alabama Forever Wild. These are all links to outdoor activities all over the state of Alabama and anything you need to know and what you can do and any licenses, fishing. You can buy your fishing license and hunting license at outdooralabama.com. So if you're inclined to do so, you can do it online without having to go anywhere and make contact. And then go fish, go have some fun with your family.
Oh yeah, this is the best time for that.
Be
Teach them how
fantastic.
to play gin rummy or
Yeah.
other card games.
Well, and like you said, the weather is clearing up. Although we do have some spotty rain in the forecast today and tomorrow. For the most part, it's gotten warm, and this is going to be a good time to get outside and do outdoor activities in the small family unit.
Absolutely.
So, do we want to speak with one of our guests? Do you want me to get one of our guests on the line? I can do that. We
Yes,
can.
let's go ahead and connect with Dr. Williams and talk to her about homeschooling and give us some advice for those of us that don't normally homeschool and let us know what is working.
All right, I'm going to.
We have
Now, remember, this is live radio, and I'm the only person up here, so we're doing
well,
this all.
yeah, I'll talk a little about what I've seen being done while you're doing that.
Yeah.
Um, I have so seen a lot of great examples of homeschool activities that may not be because a lot of parents are talking about how this is a time to teach kids how to do some of the basics that they don't know, how to start a fire.
Well, yeah.
Some of the basics they don't learn, and
Hello.
I've seen
Hello,
some where
Dr.
they are making home.
Williams.
Good morning.
Good morning. This is Todd Prater up the radio station. We're live on the air, and Cindy and I just wanted to get you online and say good morning to you and see what's going on with our Selma City school systems.
Sounds great. Sounds great. I appreciate you giving me the opportunity.
Well, Dr. Williams, can you first of all tell us what is the status of the schools in Selma right now? What are we doing during this stay-at-home time?
Well, as of right now, we are closed until at least April 6th. And prior to closing, we did provide all families with some stay-at-home learning activities. And we did this for grades pre-K through 12. And for our elementary scholars, each of them has a reading and math workbook. And so we encourage parents to pick up those workbooks from school on last Monday because some of the stay-at-home work was from the math and reading workbooks. In addition to that, we also provided writing prompts and reading recommendations as far as making sure that scholars read on a daily basis.
Are they checking in with teachers at all during this time?
Well, we have most of our schools have a pretty active social media presence, and so we have had some teachers who are actively engaging through social media, particularly Facebook. But a lot of our families don't have access to
Right.
the internet. And so we cannot use that as a method that would
Ah,
reach 100% of our scholars.
I understand. We really need to solve that problem and fix it so that the kids, hopefully, we'll never have a situation like this again once this is over.
I
However,
definitely agree.
yeah, but it sure would be nice to have that as a backup in the event that something does happen that the kids have to stay at
Absolutely.
school. Yeah. So
Absolutely.
how has the feedback been from the families over the past couple weeks that it's been going on?
Well, I think we definitely had an appreciation, as far as providing the activities and the home learning. And I know it's a stressful time for everybody. And we just want to make sure that parents do know that we are here to support them, and we encourage them to reach out to their principal or their teacher if they do have some questions or need some support. I know that, especially for families that have multiple children, I know that it's more than a notion to try to keep those babies engaged all day, and especially if parents are having to go to work or work from home at the same time. So I think that, there's been an appreciation for having the assignments, but I can certainly understand that for a lot of our families, it's still a stressful time.
Yeah, I mean it's great and wonderful to be around your family all the time. Sometimes you need to get away, and I think a lot of people are going to start appreciating. Wow, it's not so bad heading to school or heading to work every day, but
Yes.
it
I
is
know,
a weird
and
time.
it's a very odd time, and I miss seeing those smiling faces every day. And I know sometimes our scholars won't admit it, but I know they miss us
Oh, sure they
too.
do. Sure they do. Now, how can parents get in touch with teachers? Are the schools open at all? Does it need to be by telephone, by email? How do we do that?
Some of our schools use Class Dojo, which is a texting method that they can use to reach their teachers directly. Others, again, I mentioned social media, where they reach out to the principal or the teacher either through messaging or Facebook. And then we also included our executive director's email address and our behavior interventionist email address, if that's a way that families wanted to reach out. And especially if they had some questions about the home learning or needed more assignments, we can certainly give them more recommendations or something different if they needed something different by reaching out to us by one of those methods.
And for the students that don't have internet access, how are they getting in touch?
By phone,
Mm.
either texting or the Class Dojo is also
Oh,
a
yeah.
texting method
Yeah, that's right. Yeah,
that they can use to reach out directly to their teachers.
I see. But they are encouraged to not come to the school itself, correct?
That's correct. But there are times where I've talked to several of our principals who are meeting parents at the school if they do need something. For parents who didn't get a chance to pick up their workbooks or needed to come pick up a hard copy of our learning packet, then our principals have been more than willing to meet with parents at the school and to provide them any other resources that they needed.
But that's just a one-on-one, case-by-case situation.
Correct,
Yeah,
correct, because our schools are closed at this
yeah.
time.
Well, is there anything else you would like to tell the students, tell the people right now?
Well, just let's get through this together and stay tuned to our social media. We also use robocalls, and we will certainly provide more information as we get it. I do have a WebEx meeting with the State Superintendent of Education today, and we expect to get more information about how we're moving forward. And as we receive that information, we'll certainly be happy to pass it along. And I just want to encourage our scholars to read every day. That's one of the best things that they can do to help improve their vocabulary, and will help ensure that they're ready for when we do return back to school. And just thank our families and the community for the support that they have provided. We are providing meals during this time, but we also have a lot of churches and other organizations that are pitching in and helping our families during this time. And I appreciate that.
How do the students? I'm glad you mentioned the meals. I was going to get to that in a little while, but I'm glad you said that now. Where do they need to do if they do need to obtain either a lunch? Is it breakfast and lunch, or how is that working?
Yes, it's breakfast and lunch. We're not doing it this week because it's spring break.
Right.
But there are a number of other organizations that are, and we have that information posted on our Facebook page. But for scholars who need it, they just come to the schools that are providing it. Last week we were serving at Meadowview, Selma High School, and Clark Elementary School. And the meals are lunch and breakfast meals. And it's a sack lunch or a sack meal, and you do have to be 18 or younger to pick it up, and the scholars do have to be present to pick it up because this is part of our federally funded child nutrition program. And we're happy to serve those meals from 10 to 12, and we will resume that next Monday. I have a team that's working on using our parent university bus so that we can actually travel to various communities to deliver those meals. And we'll post information on our Facebook, and I'll also send out the robocall messaging giving details of where those meals will be available.
And that way the people that need them will know where to go, and they can be served.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Well, thank you so much for spending some time this morning with us, Dr. Williams. Certainly appreciate you and what you're doing and what you do for Selma City Schools. Thank you so much.
Well, thank you so much. You all have a wonderful day.
And you do the same, and you know that we here at Scott Communications and at the Selma Sun are here to help in any way that we certainly can.
We appreciate that. Thank you.
Thank you, and bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Dr. Avis Williams, Selma City School Superintendent. Cindy, sounds like they've got a lot going on right now, and the kids still have to do although this is spring break week, they still got a lot of work to do.
I love that she's saying and suggesting to read.
Yes.
Every day. As a kid, I loved the Little House on the Prairie books or Anne of Green Gables. You can kind of find a whole new world in reading, and I do feel like the electronics has taken the place of that. It's such a nice quiet time, and as she said, you learn vocabulary words by reading.
Right.
There's so much. It seems so simple, but it's pulling teeth to get my kids to read without being forced to. And I just remember and still do love reading. And hope that this might be another way to institute that into kids' lives.
Exactly. That's one of the things I keep trying to get mine, especially my youngest. He doesn't want to read anything that hadn't got to do with, Transformers or
a video game.
Yeah, a video. And he's always got his face in the computer. I tell him to make him turn the computer off, and he gets so mad at me. But you know what? I'm dad,
right?
And I know he does not need to have his face in the computer all day long.
I wish we didn't have to be the bad guy all the time.
I know it, but you know what? You respect your parents more when you grow up and realize, golly, they were definitely taking care of me.
They were right.
Yeah. So I'm not worried about that as much. But now my older, not the oldest, but the middle one, Donnie, he grew up reading what he would call prepare manuals. We like to work on cars, and I have repair manuals, for just about everything that I own, He called them prepare manuals, and that's what he would read. He read them all the time. That's probably why he's a better mechanic than I am. But
the NPR had an author on the other day who writes preparedness books about, apocalyptic type things like like what kinds of knives to have
Oh, wow.
if you were to be, what kinds of, how to be prepared. There are people out there that, so I thought that's what you were going to say.
No.
But hey, repairing for cars is a good thing
Yeah.
to learn too.
Yeah, exactly. But Dr. Williams was talking about the food and the lunches that are being served. There are a number of places that we might need to mention. One of them in particular, the Edmondite
Yes.
Missions Bosco Nutrition Center, is still open, and they have added, as of March 17th, they added breakfast, bag breakfast. You can it's a grab and go thing. They're discouraging people unless you're homeless. They're discouraging people eating in the dining room. But if you
Right.
need the service, you can still go to Bosco Nutrition Center and get breakfast, lunch, and dinner. So that,
And we have a list on selmasun.com of churches and community centers that are offering meals for kids that are 18 and under. There is a list of like you said, grab and go, um, Gospel Tabernacle Church, Gathering Place. There's several that are on this list that are pitching in, especially because she's saying with spring break, they are not legally required to feed the kids and weren't prepared to.
right.
But a lot of school districts like Selma City Schools, the school lunches and breakfast are the best meal they get all day.
Yeah,
So
sometimes
it's
the only.
definitely important to keep that, and maybe the only.
Yeah.
So it's definitely important to keep that service going for the kids to at least know they're going to have something coming. And I think the parent university bus is a great idea. We've done several stories that you can search for on selmasun.com about that parent university bus, which the idea is bringing education to the communities that may not come out for a PTA or PTO meeting. So I think that that's a great avenue for delivery because they have it set up. And in fact, the trade school programs there at Selma High School put together the welding program and the auto mechanics program, put together this bus that was donated by the city, Tuscaloosa City Schools, which is where Avis used to be. And what a great donation and project, so that it's across the board learning in order for that bus system to work and now in this time of need, deliver meals to those kids that need to be fed.
That is so cool. I think that is just an awesome thing. That is neat, especially to turn it into a learning experience from the word go. I mean, literally, the bus donated, it becomes a learning tool, and then it's used to
Absolutely.
service and help. That is what it's all about. That is fantastic. I love that.
And then the kids get to see it in motion.
Right.
What they worked on is being used in the community, and that gives them a direct, link to the work they did.
Yeah, a sense of accomplishment. Something
Absolutely.
something good. Why don't we get Paul
And
Garner on the
it's for
phone?
those. Yes, let's do it.
All right, I'm on again. We are on a limited number of people here, so as they used to say on a morning show I used to watch, we're going to do this counting them out. They used to
Okay.
they dialed live on TV back then, and so
And we're
let's get
excited to
Paul.
have Paul. He is a singer-songwriter here in Selma, and so excited about, he plays at some various venues, and it's just a talent that we have right
All
here
right.
in the Queen
Morning,
City.
Good morning, Paul Garner. How you doing this morning? This is Todd. We're live on
man.
the air.
Oh, thank goodness. Yeah, just sitting here with a guitar and a cup of coffee and a couple of kids eating cereal looking at me.
Sounds like you're having a good family morning.
Yeah, I've been practicing a little bit. They woke them up early. They're all disgusted.
It's like, Dad.
I've heard that a few times
I
already.
bet you have. Well, tell us, first of all, tell us a little bit about yourself and your songwriting.
Oh, well, I do it for fun. I do it for relaxation. And I've been doing it for a little while. My dad was a guitar player, and just sitting around telling stories, writing poems, that kind of thing, putting them to a tune.
Well,
And I enjoy it. I have a good time with it.
So you just do this for fun. What do you do in real life?
Oh, in real life, well, I've got my computer here at home. I work at a local company, Bush Hog Manufacturing facility here. We're luckily part of the agricultural economy, so we have stayed open as mandated by the federal government to support the agriculture industry. And I work in the administrative side, and they've got as many of us as possible working from home, kind of working a satellite, taking your computer home. But we still have many of the people down there working, trying to separate themselves, trying to, not put themselves at risk. Our manufacturing facility is still open, and they're chugging along under the rules that have been put out by the CDC. And so we're just trying to continue to operate and do the best we can under these very trying conditions.
Yeah, and what a great asset to Selma and Dallas County Bush Hog has been over the years, and it's great to see that they're still pumping out product and getting everything going as it needs to be. Same with International Paper and most of the industry in this area. I'm just glad to know that you're still getting it going and everything's fine.
Oh yeah, everything's cooking along. We're just doing the best we can out there.
Well, why don't you perform, sing one of your songs for us? Do
sure,
one.
I'd love to. Thank you for having me on. Yeah, I'll do one that I worked up here a while back on a trip through a neighboring town we have here called Orville. I was driving through there with my daughter and her friend one day, and this one came to us as we were driving along. I think I'll do it for you.
Oh, fantastic.
Bumper to bumper, going nowhere fast. I turned right, put two in the grass. Took that country exit, quarter mile up the road. I pulled in at the gas, beer, and fish bait sign with a stovepipe natural light on my mind. Shake off that big city load. The old cashier looked me up and down, said, "What you need ain't in that can. Get on the 2-lane with some Willie and Merle. Here's what you do, man. Pull over at the sign, fresh from the farm, wave to the couple swinging arm in arm. Nod your head in reverence when you pass the church. Make room for that old boy pulling them hay bales. Slow down for the kids fishing from the bridge rail. Don't dare turn around when the blacktop turns to dirt. 'Cause if you give it a little time, you'll find peace of mind on a drive down a country road. Oh, drive down a country road. I smiled as I turned around, hustled back to my car to get back to town. I thought he don't know me and the load I carry around. But that line of taillights gave me an excuse. I thought, what do I really have to lose? So I did my best to do what he told me to do. Oh, looking back, all I know is that old man was good. That day I turned out dang near, just like he said it would. I pulled over at the sign, fresh from the farm. I waved to the couple swinging arm in arm. Nodded my head in reverence when I passed the church. Made room for that old boy pulling them hay bales. Slowed down for the kids fishing on the bridge rail. I didn't turn around when the blacktop turned to dirt. Yeah, I gave it a little time. I found peace of mind on a drive down a country road. Oh, drive down a country road. You know that couple still loves that porch swing, and that farmer got a new hay baler. I see all them a lot more now, and we call each other neighbor. Yeah, and that's my sign right there, says fresh from the farm. I sip tea with a couple swinging arm in arm. Hit my knees every Sunday in that little church. I helped the old boy pulling them hay bales with a line with them kids fishing on the bridge rail, and mine's the second drive after the blacktop turns to dirt. Yeah, give it all my time. I find peace of mind on a drive down that country road. Oh, drive down a country road.
Wow. Wow.
Oh, thank you very much. Thank you. Appreciate that.
Man, not only does it sound great, but those lyrics, what the pictures you painted in my head just now. First of all, I can see Orville. I can see Orville in that song. I love that little town, okay? It is.
Well, that's the main one. The main sign we saw driving through town, obviously, was the fresh market down there.
Yeah.
That they run. They do such a good job with. Then we decided to drive around town for just a second, and we took a little detour and drove around some of the blocks and just noticed some of the, the gas, beer, and fish bait sign there on there on the gas station and a couple others. And then, so it just kind of came together over a couple of weeks. It was fun. My daughter helped me do it a little bit, Fairchild, and we had a good time with it.
That's a powerful song, really. Very powerful song. And, it's very, very appropriate for this time right now because the subject matter of getting back down to the basics, getting back to the family and being reverent when you pass the church. And that is really an awesome song. Let me ask you one question. Why is it – now, I know they need you at Bush Hog, but why is it you're not recording?
Well, now, George, come on now, brother. I do appreciate the optimism. Now, don't get me wrong, but it is harder than you think.
I know. And
those guys are really good. Those guys are really good.
Yeah, well,
I don't have any delusions of grandeur.
Well, by the way, I'm Todd. But you really, I mean, you sound great. That's an awesome song. It really is.
Thank you, Todd.
Really is awesome, and I love the subject matter. You got another one you can do for us real quick?
Yeah, I can work one up. This is one I don't think I've ever sung this before anywhere else. So this will be this brand new. Finished it up a few weeks ago, couple of days ago. I actually added a lyric yesterday. So,
oh, neat. Okay.
We'll see how it goes.
That's
you
all
never
right.
know if I'll be able to remember it all.
Well, that's all right. We're all family. We ain't gonna have a problem with it. Come on.
It goes a little something like this. 5 years old, hands on my eyes in the corner of the family den. No one around, not a single sound, except me counting down from 10. When I got to 1, I turned around, opened up my eyes, took in a big old breath, raised my voice and said, let me tell you something, guys. You can run and you can hide, but I'll find you, I swear. I'll never quit searching, whatever it takes, I don't care. It's only a matter of time. Time is what I got. So here's my final warning, and here I come. Ready or not. Hiding in the bushes of my ex-girl's neighbor's house. Me and Jimmy kneeling dead still, quiet as a mouse. The front porch light came on, lit up the paper in the trees. Daddy's voice was loud and clear riding on that summer breeze. He said, you can run and you can hide, but I'll find you, I swear. I'll never quit searching, whatever it takes, I don't care. It's only a matter of time, you know, when time is what I got. Oh, so here's my final warning, here I come. Ready or not, you know this game plays out all your life, always the hare or the hound. You don't even need just cause they say you in the ground. Taking his last few breaths, that hospital bed. Family gathered all around, the goodbyes had been said. But he's gladly letting go and moving on what's left of his life. So that after way too long, he can once again wrap his arms around his wife. Then he whispered, baby, you can run and you can hide, but I'll find you, I swear. Never quit searching, whatever it takes, I don't care. It's only a matter of time, you know, when time is what I got. Oh, so here's my final warning, here I come. Ready or not. Oh, you know, here's my final warning, here I come. Ready or not.
Wow, that is awesome, Paul. That is a great one, too.
Oh,
Man,
thank you very much. Thank you. I appreciate that.
You are one talented gentleman. I can't wait to hear more from you. Maybe we'll get you back on next week and have more Paul Garner originals. Yeah, I tell you what, I really appreciate.
I appreciate it.
Yeah, boy. That is.
Well, listen, thank you very much for having me on. I've really enjoyed it. Blessings to all the people out there who are spending a little more time by themselves than they're used to, and just continue to plod on. This too shall end, as they say. This too shall end. So.
And you know what else Jesus always says is, don't be afraid.
He mentions something 365
yeah.
times. I believe it's, I can't remember it right now. But
maybe
every day for us.
That's right. So we will come through it. All we just got to do is be together. That's it.
That's true. That's true, Todd. Thank you so much for having me on, pal. I've really enjoyed it.
Me too. Thank you, Paul. And we'll talk to you again.
Yes, sir.
All right, bye-bye. Wow, Cindy, was that awesome or what?
Awesome. It's always great to hear a local artist showing us their talent. There's so much talent here in Selma.
So much talent here in Selma. So we want to do this again. We got about 2 minutes left. I'm going to say thank you so much for doing this. This is fantastic. I'm looking forward to next week. We'll have more. And Cindy, why don't you real quickly give us a rundown of what to expect in tomorrow's paper? Tell us a little bit about yourself again for those who may have tuned in late and didn't get to hear you introduce yourself. And then we will call it a day and do it again next week.
Sounds great. Yes, I'm Cindy Fisher, and I am publisher and owner of the Selma Sun. And we come out on Thursdays, a weekly newspaper that is shining the light on Selma and Dallas County. Tomorrow's edition, we do a deep dive into the state audit of the city of Selma's finances. So definitely want to check that out. I've been covering government for 20 plus years, so I took that report and really broke it down into some bite-sized pieces. You can understand what that report is saying. We're going to talk about some of the efforts that are being done to keep businesses open and doing well during the quarantine. And a lot of news. This is a packed paper with news that's been going on around with the coronavirus. We've got a message from David McCormick with Vaughn and he's speaking to us about what efforts they're working on, and some education stories, and just more and more news, just packed with news this week.